There it goes. Welcome to Joe A. Sterling Gymnasium. My name is Mark Barchi, Media Director for the Metro vs. Florida Challenge. With me is Neil Fisher, longtime Apopka sports writer, and we'll be taking you through. We apologize for the audio difficulties we had during the starting lineups. We've gotten that squared away, and we're now ready to take you through this game number 11. And Neil, some history here. I apologize our fans watching online didn't get to hear the presentation before the game, as we get a basket by number 13, Dwayne Foreman, to put the Eagles on the board. But Coach Foreman of the Eagles has some history here at Apopka. He is one of the all-time greats to this day, a 4-year starter for the Blue Darters. A three for C. Davis. And so, of course, he was a 1,400-plus career points, has all kinds of accolades, and now has been appointed as the head coach of South Lake.
Yeah, of course, as always, Mark, excellent job of the pregame festivities, the introductions carried into that ceremony. And, yes, I do remember when Foreman was a player here. Don't remember very vividly, but I do have some memories of him. And, of course, we wish him and his family the best. Obviously, he's continued staying involved with the basketball community.
For Rafi Betancourt.
So Apopka with a couple of trays now. The 6-2 lead early, 2 minutes in, as Coach Williams urges his teams on, barks out orders to our left from the right corner. That is Nate Boyer, unable to find the range, can't connect, and ripping down that rebound. Windex work for Noah Ferrer. Apopka with a chance to get that lead up to 3 possessions now as they move down to the other end. So your previews going into this game: South Lake High School 0-3 this year. Rough start for the Eagles as we get a whistle. 5:38 first quarter under Coach Foreman. Of course, Foreman in his first year at South Lake. He was over at Hope Academy as assistant previously.
Foul called against Z. Davis, his team's first.
This is the team's first, somewhat of a surprise, at least to me, appearance in this event. Metro solid 14-11 season last year, however, did not win a game in the postseason, bowing out in the district quarterfinal. They are a member of Class 6A District 5, and they lost 5 players to graduation last year.
3 for Austin Cruz.
So, of course, that 0-3 start tied to losing 5 seniors. They do have Isaiah Pina coming back. He averaged 23.6 points per game last year. Joshua Joehill, 16.9 points as well, transferring in. And seniors now: John Rowe, Tristan Scott, Zander Siokis, and Michael Scott.
3 for Trent James.
And Apopka continues to drain those trays. 3 of 4 now, 9-5 lead. We look, and Coach Foreman is a run-and-gun coach. Likes to do that. As he said, hey, if you're going to lose, do it excitingly. Looking over at Apopka, Scott Williams is coming over, and he's taking them. Solid team, always finishing over 500, always a playoff contender. He's pretty much turned them into a perennial playoff participant. Last year, no different, 21-8, losing in the regional runner-up. That's the round of 8. Williams now in its 11th season. 15-10. Obviously, as the host school, they have the most appearances, Class 7A District 3. And they are looking also to rebound from the loss of quite a few players, 4 to be exact last year. Also, their top rebounders. Returning are guards Trent James, Rafi Betancourt, Noah Ferrer, along with wings Z. Davis and Alex Congdon. Jarquavion McClain also comes back as the most improved player, and they added to that depth Xavier Bell, Xavier Freeman, and Jacques Evariste. So a 9-5 lead. We have a stoppage as our refs are looking over the books.
Yeah, just I think it's a registration glitch. I think we got all the right people there. It's just making sure the numbers match up so that we can keep the scoring record accurate.
Yeah, and of course they are discussing the matter with Coach Jackson of Apopka. So Coach Jackson doing her job. Well done. Also, your leading scorers, speaking of Southlake, you have Dwayne Foreman. Of course, that's the coach's son. Yes, he's a third. Coming in, averaging 13.7 points. And Joehill, the transfer, averaging, Nate Boyer, averaging 11.7 points per game. Those are the only two in double digits. And speaking of Southlake, they now have possession, trailing 9-5. So there is your setup, your previews. Again, Southlake looking for his first win, coming in losing his first 3 games after losing 5 seniors last year, all their starters. Apopka 1-1. And, of course, as is the case, Mark, we talk about this every year, Coach Williams reloads. He never seems to rebuild. He always has those players ready to step up and take the place of the graduating seniors. Strong rebound. Couldn't see quite who got that, but whoever it was, he skied. Top of the key now to the right. The tray. Swish from Davis.
3 for Rafi Betancourt.
Raphael Betancourt.
Eagles.
Raphael Betancourt. So now 4 of 5 from beyond the arc for Apopka. Strong start from beyond 3. And also forgot to mention, Coach Williams, this is a team, of course, he's always been a coach who wants to get his teams to take a lot of threes, but even more so with this team. And also with Coach Williams, I know it's not something that he does while he coaches, but one of the truly great coaches in the state of Florida, not just Central Florida. He's not sure how many, but he does know he has about 570 wins now. Of course, Coach Williams, as we get the turnover, chance to further increase that lead from 7 points for Apopka. It's actually the first turnover of this game, too, between either team 5 minutes in.
Checking into the game for the Eagles, number 1, Joshua Joehill.
Coach Williams, roughly 570 wins, as well as the coach of the Mount Dora Hurricanes, 1997 Class 4A state champions. And even though he hasn't won a state championship since then, always can see the excellence of his coaching year in, year out. Is again, Apopka usually, very rarely, is not going to the playoffs.
Foul called against Rafi Betancourt. It's his first personal foul, the team's second.
2:52 remaining, still a 12-5 lead, but Apopka continues with possession. I'm Neil Fisher. The other voice you hear is Mark Barchi. He's
checking into the game for the Blue Darters.
Also our public address announcer. That's the right wing now. 2-man game between Ferrer and Congdon. No dice on that shot, too hard. Give the rebound to Joehill. He's come into the game quickly out the other end. As Coach Freeman said, they like to get up and down that court. You're not going to see him walk the ball up. Deliberate pace now in terms of taking the shot, but they got the ball up quickly as we drop to 2.5. First quarter, the 2025 Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge. Apopka representing the Metro Conference. Of course, they're also the host school. Southlake representing Florida contingency. The fadeaway. That was Foreman, unable to get it dropped. Apopka ripping down another rebound. 5th rebound in this first quarter now. 2 minutes remaining. Apopka working on that 12-5 lead. Back out to the top of the key where they reset. In that right wing, the stop-and-go move from Brigo. And drop in the deuce.
Basket by McClain.
14-5 lead now. Apopka continues to put it up. Southlake getting some decent shots, nothing great, but the bottom line is they are not converting those shots where you see wide open like that. That was Congdon unable to connect, but they get the rebound. 4 offensive rebounds, second time. It's a charm. And a 17-5 lead now. Ferrer with the second basket, or the second shot dropping. And now a rare turnover for Apopka. Matter of fact, their first of the game. Southlake with only 2 themselves as we drop under a minute. Clanks off the back of that heel, ripping that rebound down. Caroming, that was Noah Ferrer, who also got the last 3 points. 51.9
Foul called against
seconds
Eagles
remaining.
number 13, Dwayne Foreman, his first, the team's first.
And 51.9 seconds remaining in this first quarter. It's been Apopka dominated. Offensive rebounding. We're actually rebounding in general. The offensive rebound stands out, but Apopka
Well, Neil, it's
with
been
10 rebounds in total compared to only 5 for Southlake. And you don't have to be the proverbial basketball guru. And there we go again.
pass from Rafi Betancourt to Xavier Freeman for 3.
And I was going to say, you get more rebounds, you're going to get more shots, and more shots means more points.
Yeah, Neil, and I mean, it's been interesting to see that Apopka has favored the 3 so much.
Yeah.
They've done all perimeter shooting. So
Yeah,
on the one hand, that could be regarded as a testament to Southlake's inside defense. But on the other hand, if you're shooting threes that well, I mean, why not?
Yeah, 7 of 10
They're
from
falling for
three-point range. Actually, 6 of 10, 6 of 10 from three-point range for Apopka. And there's a rare deuce.
Betancourt to Alex Congdon for the jumper. And Neil, that was not a 3, but it was still kind of a perimeter shot. Short on the long distance dedication.
Yeah, and
that
that's-
takes us to the end of the first quarter. It's a big lead for Apopka at the end of 8 minutes. 22-5 is your score at the end of the first quarter here in Game 11 of the 15th annual Metro vs. Florida Challenge, presented by Advent Health, St. Germain Chiropractic, and Burnfat Orlando.
And so, Mitch talked to Coach Williams a few minutes before the game, and he asked him if there's anything in particular that stood out on this team in terms of strength. He said, yeah, 3-point field goal. And again, 6 of 10 now, building that 22-5 lead. Actually, 5 of 9, and building that 22-5 lead.
The 15th annual Earl Graham Metro vs. Florida Challenge is presented by Burnfat Orlando, who invites you to step on the scale with their money-back guarantee. If you don't lose weight in the first 10 days, they'll refund your money. Give them a call at 855-889-THIN for a customized approach, personalized programs, fast result, real nutrition, and strong support to take charge of your weight and your life. The Metro vs. Florida Challenge is also presented by St. Germain Chiropractic Clinics, offering the best non-invasive healthcare services in the Central Florida area and accepting most insurance. They can help you with back and neck pain, headaches, auto accidents, slip and fall, injuries, musculoskeletal conditions, and more. Remember, when in pain, call St. Germain. The Darters had the opening possession of the second period.
22-5 lead for Apopka. They scored the first tray. First field goal attempt was a three-pointer, nothing but net. And as they say, they haven't looked back throughout that first quarter. In the lane, the stop hop, no dice for Evariste, but the Windex work bears fruit. Offensive rebound.
Alex Congdon on the putback.
Congdon with the 6th offensive rebound for Apopka. And a 24-5 lead now. 30 seconds into the second quarter, the 2025 Metro vs. Florida Challenge in honor of the legacy of Coach Earl Graham. Down along the baseline, the double team giving it up. Back into the corner, that's Siokis. Rims off that rim. Bouncing off high, and more Windex work for Apopka. Evariste, the 6'3" sophomore, grabbing that opportunity. Back the other way, 24-5 lead for Apopka. Do they up it? No. That was Bell launching and releasing from the free throw line. A rare miss for Apopka. They're shooting around 60% from the field, both 2 and 3. The drive at the other end. The attack from Foreman And he's going to go to the free throw line with 6:43 remaining in the second quarter.
Fouls called against Darters. Number 23, Xavier Freeman, his first personal foul, team's first of this quarter. That will send Dwayne Foreman to the line, shooting 2 for the Eagles.
So Zakaric Davis, the 6'0" senior guard, otherwise known as Zeke, canned that first tray on the first possession for Apopka, and it's been all Apopka since then. They've just continued to drain the rain, finding the range. Not quite as proficient from 2-point range, but still around 60% in total. And now they'll see what they do at the free throw line with
Foul
Trent
is called
James.
against number 21, Austin Cruz. That's his first personal foul, the team's first of this period, and that will send the Darters to the line. Trent James shooting 2.
So the official count now, as we are approaching the halfway point of the 2025 Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge. We are tied at 10-10. It is a 4-3 lead.
You mean 5-5 for a total?
Excuse me, 5-5. We've played 10 games and it's 5-5. So it's 4-3 entering today. It's been 2-1 so far for Florida, and it looks good right now. Apopka's come out, and about midway through the second quarter, it puts itself in position to get a victory for the Metro Conference.
Trent James picks up the points through traffic and will pause for a full timeout called by South Lake. Eagles request a full timeout.
26-5, 5:56 remaining from Joe A. Sterling Gymnasium on the campus of Apopka High School. We'll get into the format of this event when we return.
Welcome back to Joe Sterling Gymnasium, home of the Apopka Blue Darters, where it is the host school taking on the South Lake Eagles, and so far they are having their way.
26-5 lead with 5:56 remaining before halftime. And speaking of the way, that's Gene. Makes the deposit.
Trent James
off the
steals the
steal.
layup for Apopka.
So it's been all about the field goal percentage and rebounding up to that point, but the last couple of possessions now, Apopka's starting to show their defensive wares. There you just saw an easy deuce for Gene, sliding through and making the deposit for South Lake. Who scored? That was Foreman with the deuce. So now a 29-7 lead for Apopka. So Apopka came out, and they certainly have lived up to Coach Williams' analysis that this is very strong, perhaps maybe even the strongest team he's ever had in terms of shooting beyond the arc. They're shooting about 70%. They were 6 of 9 at the end of the first quarter. Don't have the exact stats here, of course. Remember, it's just Mark and I. I'm Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi, my on-air partner, who also is a public address announcer and director. And we don't have a statistician, but I can guarantee you from the eyeball test, Apopka is continuing to shoot in the mid-60s. Give that tray
Three
to Boyer.
for Nathaniel Boyer.
Cuts the lead to 29-10 as Southlake reaches double digits.
I'll correct your score bug
It
there.
was
I missed a point at some point, but it is 29, not 28.
But Zeke Davis taking a beautiful cross-court pass left to right on the very first possession, and then he drained the rain, and it's been all three-pointers in Apopka since then until about a minute ago when Apopka come up with a couple of turnovers, easy deuce in transition, and that takes us again to that 29-10 lead. At that free throw line is Trenton Jean, the leading scorer now with 7 points. Apopka coming in 1-1. They went 21-8 last year, regional runner-up. That's a round of 8. So obviously the next step for them would be to advance to the state semifinals, the Final Four. And of course, Coach Williams has Southlake doing some excellent passing there. Ball never hit the court on 4 passes, ripping that rebound down. Betancourt, Windex work, out to the arc. Does he get a splash? No. In and out. Nice rebound. Boyer skying for that rebound. 4 minutes remaining before halftime. A chance for Southlake to get a couple of consecutive possessions with points. Again, going back to Coach Williams. Knows a little something about getting to the Final Four. He was the 1997 Class 4A state championship coach at Mount Dora. And as I mentioned at the beginning, of course, obviously, it's been a while since Coach Williams has won a state championship, but he more often than not, probably about 75% of the times, does get to the playoffs with his teams.
Traveling, Eagles ball. This is, of course, the second half of what I call the avian block of the Metro versus Florida Challenge. We had Falcons versus Eagles in the last game. Now we have Darters versus Eagles.
Yes, we got a flock of teams. Ha, ha, ha. Scramble underneath, picking up the loose ball. Davis, great second ball, great hustle there at the other end. He tips it again. That shot was taken by Bell, and another offensive rebound. Bad turnover there for Apopka.
Well, one good turnover deserves another.
To Apopka's credit, only 4 turnovers up to this point.
He'll get it right back as Trent Jean picks it off in the backcourt.
3 minutes exactly. McClain, left wing, drives that lane. Oh, the beautiful pass down low to Davis, who draws the contact, lower that shoulder while he was going up against a couple of Southlake Eagles, and he'll go to the line.
Foul is called against Darters number 2, Jarquavion McClain. That's his first personal foul, team's second.
And actually, excuse me, it was not a Southlake foul. It was actually on Apopka, Davis. And Davis is coming out. He's limping. So he's going to take a seat behind the Apopka bench. Hopefully it's just needs a couple minutes. Just one of those stingers. In the meantime, Southlake back with possession, trailing by 20. The 6-foot turnaround. No dice. That comes off the hands of Rowe. Back the other way we go. McClain snagging the rebound, back the other way, the quick pass, and making the deposit is Jean.
For Trent Jean. He crosses into double figures now with 11.
And the 32-10 lead.
Tipped away.
Jean again.
Open court, nobody to beat. Can't get it, but draws the contact. Block is called against Eagles, number 3, John Rowe. That's a second personal foul. The team's third at the line, shooting 2, Trent Jean.
So even though we went into that second quarter with Apopka holding a double-digit lead in the mid-teens, Southlake was not turning the ball over. They only had 3 turnovers in the first half. It was Apopka's phenomenal rebounding and their field goal percentage, which of course is set up by good rebounding, that gave them that lead. The second quarter, though, it's been the turnover. 6 turnovers for Southlake now, still 2:18 remaining. before halftime. So again, don't have the official statistics. And speaking of turnovers, there's the 7th. And the drive, the attack from Freeman, and he makes the deposit off the bank.
Basket by Xavier Freeman.
But I would say eyeball test, Apopka scored at least 10 points off turnovers, actually 12 now. Here we go again. Back at the other eight, another deposit, Xavier Bell.
Solid pass to Xavier Bell from Rafi Betancourt, and that will take us to a timeout.
So Apopka looking to improve on that 1-1 record. And a
Full timeout called by the Eagles.
And a 21-8 record last year, and the season ending in the regional finals, certainly picking up where they left off with 1:54 remaining from Joe A. Sterling Gymnasium on the campus of Apopka.
The 15th annual Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge is presented by Advent Health, offering the top ER docs within blocks. They are Central Florida's #1 trusted emergency room. Sometimes life can take an unexpected turn. When it does, know that the area's most preferred ER is nearby. Their elite team of specialty trained physicians and critical care nurses are available around the clock to care for any of life's thrills and spills. And with the most ER locations, Central Florida's #1 ER is always within reach. Find your Advent Health ER at myclosestER.com. As we get back to live action here at Joe A. Sterling Gymnasium, it's been all Apopka so far. They are making it rain from the arc.
Actually, they're making it rain from inside and outside the arc. They've scored far more points from outside the arc, but again, they're shooting around 60% combined. At the other end,
basket scored by Joshua Joehill with a chance to make it a three-point play. The foul is called against Darters number 10, Jacques Evariste. That's his first and the team's third of this period.
1:46 remaining before halftime. And a 5-5 score in this Metro versus Florida Challenge. If this is your first time listening, first of all, thank you. I'm Neil Fisher. The other voice you hear is Mark Barchi.
Stolen basket by Joshua Joehill. And we'll pause now for a Blue Darter timeout. So, Neil, whatever...
Mark also our public address announcer.
Whatever Dwayne Foreman said in that last timeout seems to have done something because the Eagles woke up.
Yeah, 4 consecutive points, of course, a long way to go. Falling behind by double digits early in this game within about 3 minutes in. Of course, also want to point out Dwayne Foreman, if you joined us later, actually I believe the audio wasn't working, but Dwayne Foreman, a former Apopka High School Blue Darter, actually retired from Apopka with the #2 all-time scoring list. He was honored. First year at the helm of Southlake. He was an assistant for a number of years, most recently at Hope Academy. As we drop to 140. And again, the format of the Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge, the attack, kick out, Freeman to Evariste. He can't get it to ground. Carome's off, picking up that loose ball, and making the deposit is Freeman.
Second chance basket by Xavier Bell.
Xavier Bell. So that brings the score to 40-16. So every
15. There's a little glare on the scoreboard.
Okay, 15. 40-15. So every public high school in Orange County is a member of the Metro Conference. Once the school opens, they automatically become a member. It's not like in college where you have to have acceptance and a vote by the membership. You're automatically in when your school opens. We've gone from, I believe, 18. Of course,
I think Apopka has been around longer than the Orange County Metro Conference.
Yeah, Apopka is among the top 5 in terms of Otis. You put Jones in there, Evans. But in each of these games, a member of the Metro Conference takes on a non-member, a.k.a. the Florida contingency. And at the end of these 26 games, we add up which side has the most. the Metro Conference winning last year, the Florida contingency winning the 3 years before that. Some great passing. Haven't talked about Apopka's passing, and of course, as soon as I bring it up, the turnover.
I'm going to foul here.
Talked a lot.
While we've got a break in the action here, I'll put up the graphic for you real quick. There's your OCPS history.
That's
push is called against Darters number 2, Jarquavion McClain. That's his second personal foul, the team's 5th, and that'll result in a penalty situation. At the line, shooting 2 will be Jonathan Ruiz.
Yeah, so if you look in the top left corner, that's the oldest to the newest, and that started with Jones, followed by Winter Park, and then Apopka. So also just want to take this opportunity too as well. Of course, Earl Graham, his name is now a part of this event. Coach Earl was a longtime assistant coach, never wanted to be a head coach, was very comfortable working behind the scenes, and unfortunately he passed away. 50 plus years, he passed away on January 7th, 2021 due to COVID. He worked at a number of schools, most notably Lake Highwood Prep and Apopka. His last assignment in terms of who he was working with was Coach Scott Williams, first at Wekiva when the school opened, and then came over here to Apopka with Coach Williams. We miss him very dearly, but of course he left a great legacy beyond just coaching, helping so many young men be prepared for life. 40-15 is your score. Apopka shooting around 60%, strong rebounding, and that has carried them to the lead. We'll be back for the second half. In the meantime, Mark, it's halftime.
Welcome back to Joe A. Sterling Gymnasium. My name is Mark Barchi, Media Director of the Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge. I am joined by Neil Fisher, longtime Apopka sports writer, and we are ready to take you through the second half. And Neil, we certainly hope that South Lake figured some things out in the locker room. Otherwise, we're going to hit a running clock here pretty soon.
Yeah, 40-15 score as we begin the second half in the 2025 11th game of the Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge. Apopka came out. Coach Williams had talked about if he had to choose one statistic, one skill that his team excelled at, that stood out, it was three-point field goal shooting.
Fouls called against Darters, number 2, Jarquavion McClain. That's his second personal foul, the team's first of this period, and it will send to the line number 1, Joshua Joehill.
And Apopka wasted no time in making that statement come true. It was Zeke Davis, the 6'0" senior guard, taking a cross-court pass left to right and draining the rain, making it 3-0 on the first possession. And it's been all Apopka since then. That three-point shooting, a bit of an odd statistic. They actually took 10 attempts in that first quarter. Again, to show you just how good, 6 out of 10, so at 60%. I believe they did not take any in the second quarter. They did not make any. However, they are 9 of 15 from inside the arc, 2-point range, so 15 of 25 in total, and that is 60%. And Marcus, I like to say you don't need to be the basketball guru. Look at that stat when you're making 60% of your field goals to understand why you have a 25-point lead at halftime. And then you throw in there 10 defensive rebounds, 8 offensive rebounds, total of 18. And that just further strengthens. You can understand why.
Well, and Neil, it's not just that Apopka is a bunch of sharpshooters today, which they are.
No,
but
great passing as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're opening up great, easy shot selections for themselves, and just like that one there, that's Jarquavion McClain from the key. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously you go through your shooting drills, you build that muscle memory. Shooting accuracy, of course, is a big part of that. But when you see a 60% shooting from the field, that's not just you got lucky. That's not just that you've been practicing your muscle memory. That's that your teammates have been opening up great shot selections for you. You're not shooting off your heels. You're not getting double teamed in your face. You know, your teammates are setting up screens for you.
Yeah, you're getting what coaches call the good looks. So now 42-15, 6.5, third quarter. 5-5 score on the Metro versus Florida scoreboard. As moving inside, that was Foreman. Nice move, couldn't get it, but gets the second chance.
For 2. And yeah, well,
so
props to Foreman
rebound
for staying with his shot, but Apopka gave up too soon on that.
Into the corner, Congdon, off the rim, looked like they had the proverbial lid. Quick outlet pass all the way down the other end, looked like it had a lid. That was Joehill trying to make the deposit, going bank. And so one of the other things, too, we talk about setting up, getting good looks at the basket, creating those. A lot of those have come from defense as well. And Apopka's played stellar defense. Obviously, I don't need to tell you that when you look at the scoreboard and see just 17 points. But
foul is called against Eagles, number 21, Austin Cruz. That's his first personal foul, team's first of this period, and it sends Trent James to the line shooting 2.
But the reason that Southlake has been able to only score 17 points has been far more what Apopka's done on defense. They played great defense at halftime. Southlake had turned the ball over 12 times. Only three in the first quarter, and then 9 in the second quarter. But not only has Apopka turned it over, as you can see here, they've just made life difficult for Southlake to get into any kind of run-and-gun offense, which is what Coach Foreman likes his team to do. So they've been uncomfortable, not just in terms of what they're actually doing, but just the mental state
Yeah, I mean, you can see, you saw it on just this very last drive, that the outlet passes, the transition offense, just not happening for Southlake because Apopka's just turning on the afterburners and getting down there. And once you get settled into that half-court set, Apopka is not going to give you any quarter.
So another couple offensive rebounds for Apopka. 5 minutes, third quarter, 44-17 lead. 11th game of the 2025 Earl Graham Metro vs. Florida Challenge. Congdon again launching. Again, bounces off that rim. It's coming close, but not quite able to find that range. A Trey now at the other end from Boyer. He can't find the range. Pulling down the rebound. Farrar leads the attack up. Now they settle down to the half-court offense. They'll moving quickly. Stop, pop, and drop.
Noah Ferrer from the key. Yeah, he saw a little bit of open space on the court.
Took a couple steps forward and posted up. They're spotted up.
Spin move there and foul called. Foul's called against Darters, number 5, Noah Ferrer. That's his first personal foul, the team's second, and that will send to the free throw line Austin Cruz.
So Southlake came into this game 0-3, looking for their first victory of the season. Dwayne Foreman, the first-year coach at Southlake, of course also a Apopka standout roughly 10 to 12 years ago, retiring from the Apopka program and under Coach Williams, second most points ever scored.
I should note, if you're wondering why you're seeing a Wekiva logo every time we go to instant replay, it's because this graphics package I designed for Wekiva, and that was the one thing I did not get a chance to redo the graphics for the Metro vs. Florida Challenge. So don't mind that. Wekiva already played against Seabreeze yesterday, and they were victorious in that.
At that time, gave the Metro Conference a 2-0 lead. Stop, pop, and gets the roll. Score the drop for
Dwayne Foreman.
So Foreman now with 6 points. A very quiet 6 points as well. Down the lane, the attack, the baseline, and floating in the deuce.
Down the baseline, number 23, Xavier Freeman.
So Apopka continuing to shoot the ball well. Still around 60%. At the other end, the drive from Foreman, trying to force the issue.
Ball. Possession Darters.
And Apopka would have none of that. Forcing the issue. Quick hands, getting inside and touching the ball.
And now Apopka will send in 3 subs. And this is typical of Scott Williams. I've been following Scott Williams for a long time. The years that he spent at Wekiva, as we get a 3 for Jaden Andino. So the years that he spent at Wekiva, and then every time I've seen him coaching Apopka, one of his signatures is that he wants any combo chart to work. Any combination of five guys out there is going to get it done for him. He likes to go to his bench early and often, and he likes to constantly change up the players on the court. And what that does is that discombobulates the other team. I mean, no matter how much game film you watch, you can't get used to all the combinations that Scott Williams has up his sleeve. I notice this because I run the scoreboard and because I do the direction. I'm constantly switching players in and out of the game for Apopka way more frequently than I do for most other teams.
Yeah, definitely a coach that any time during the game you look at who's on the floor.
Foul is called against number 1, Josh Joehill. That's his second, the team's second of this period. And at the line for the Blue Darters is Trent James.
And you can look on the floor at the lineup, and you can have anywhere from the number 1 to number 12 guy on the roster. Well, actually, it's 15 in high school. But the point is any one of his players can be in on the game, and not during cleanup time when, during significant moments.
Yeah, and just having that bench depth, I mean, it comes with a whole host of benefits.
And to your point, Mark, to speak of it tangibly, I don't remember any team that Coach Williams has ever had where you look at the scoring column or even the rebounding column, and there's one player that stands out, significantly more, like 1.5 to 2 times more points scoring average than the than the number 2 guy. Speaking of which, drain the
Bell
rain.
for 3 from Jaden Andino. It's a beautiful pass there, and Apopka cashes in. Now are looking like they did at the beginning of the game. Trent James got his hands on that one. It stays with Southlake.
So also to follow up, mentioned a couple minutes ago, Dwayne Foreman, of course the coach's son. He's actually a third, the 6'0" junior guard. Definitely the face of this program for Southlake. Only 6 points for him, actually 9 points now. But he comes in averaging 13.7, the leading scorer. So definitely Apopka has shut him down. A very quiet effort from him. And I don't mean effort like he's not trying. I mean just effort in the results. And another offensive rebound. Foreman scrapping underneath. Passes out to Andino, who now gives it up to Gene. He's extended left, one-on-one with Siokis. Gets the ball back in the 2-man game. Launches. Air ball. And it'll be Southlake. So one of the few possessions today, don't even think it's total 5, that Apopka has not scored or got. And one of the also failing to score after an offensive rebound.
You have a block 25? You have a block 25? I do. Okay.
So 1:29 remaining, 55-22 lead for Southlake. They'll look to cut into that lead, see if they can stave off the running clock for another couple possessions, at least for 3 quarters. The 0-3 team trying to replace 5 seniors. All 5 of those seniors were starters last year off the 14-11 team. And if you're new to Florida High School basketball, FHSAA, Florida High School Athletic Association rule, the governing body, 35 points in the second half. That's a 35-point lead that initiates the running clock. See if Apopka can reach that. It's Gene inside, outside. The spin from 6 feet, short. Bounces off that rim. Hard rebound from Siokis. Southlake will go back to work with 39 seconds remaining. Siokis takes the pass. Too hard. Kareem's high, skying for that rebound. And Dino brings it up, the quick pass into Evariste, and he can't get it to go. Again, Apopka has pretty much had their way throughout this whole game, but in particular, statistically, offensive rebounds and points off offensive rebounds. They've run into a dry spell now. 3 possessions with unable to score off those offensive rebounds. 3 seconds remaining in the corner to Bell, and he drains the rain.
4-3, and that takes us to the end of the third quarter. 58-22 is your score at the end of the third with 8 minutes left to play here in game number 11 of the 15th annual Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge, presented by Advent Health, St. Germain Chiropractic, and Burn Fat Orlando. The Eagles will have the opening possession of the fourth quarter. All right, so you'll see your clock and your score bug has turned green with a little shuttle arrow next to it. That means we are in running clock territory. Clock will only stop for timeouts and other extended disruptions of play because we have past a 35-point scoring differential in the second half. And here we get a foul called against Darters number 1, Rafi Betancourt.
And during that third quarter, Apopka continued to shoot the ball well. Now shooting 12 of 19 from beyond the arc and 9 of 20 inside the arc, so 21 of 40. That's above 50%.
Darters foul called against number 22, Alex Congdon, his second foul, team second.
I'll say it yet again. I've said it throughout the whole game, Mark. When you're shooting over 50%, of course, for a while, during most of that first half, it was around 60, but still, when you're in the low 50s, you're going to win a lot of games. And, of course, Apopka getting those field goals, such great looks, being set up by rebounding on both ends.
Block is called against Rafi Betancourt, his fourth personal foul, the team's third.
Of course, Apopka
at the line shooting for the Eagles, number 13, Dwayne Foreman.
Of course, Apopka on the offensive end been getting a lot of offensive rebounds within 2 to 3 feet. So all you need to really do is just put that ball back up. Got a lot of tip-ins as well. But on the defensive end, that also can set up a lot of good looks. You set up transition if you hold the team into bad looks, forcing them to shoot balls that come off long off the rim. So again, Apopka 21 for 40 through the first 3 quarters, slightly above 50%. And you don't need to be the proverbial basketball guru to understand when you're making more than 1 out of every 2 baskets, you're going to score a lot of points. Back the other way now. It's under 6 minutes. Southlake looking to cut into the lead. So our next game, that's also one of the great matchups, as we've mentioned throughout every year we talk about how this event, and of course Coach Williams doing the scheduling, pairing the teams up, you get a lot of great matchups. You normally wouldn't have those premier matchups of premier programs, teams that at the very least are playoff contenders every year, playing against each other. Coming up next, it'll be the Jones Tigers and the Oviedo High School Lions. So, Mark, of course, you mentioned this matchup. Two different types of birds. Our next matchup will be 2 different types of cats.
30-second timeout requested by Apopka. We invite you to stay with us for the upcoming games in the Metro versus Florida Challenge. We've got 2 more for you tonight, and they promise to be good ones. Coming up next here at Joe Sterling Gymnasium, we'll have the Jones Tigers taking on the Oviedo Lions. And then we will end the night with Ocoee, the Knights, taking on the Mainland Bucks. If you have not yet had an opportunity to download the program, make sure you do that. We have a QR code at the admission table on your way in, or you can just go to our website, metrovsfl.com. It is free, full color, and has team capsules, pictures, and rosters, as well as history and information about the event for every program. So we hope that you will do that and take advantage of your free program from metrovsfl.com.
5:06 remaining, a 58-26 lead for Apopka. They have dominated this game from the beginning. Zeke Davis scoring on the very first possession. Pass set up by a beautiful bucket, set up by a beautiful cross-court pass left to right. And hard to find any thing to complain about in this performance from Apopka. This will go to the free throw line now. Score the basket.
Fouls called against number 32. Noah Pratt, his first personal foul, the team's third. The basket by Joehill is good. He's at the line shooting for the 3-point play.
And he'll complete that 3-point play. So also, Metro versus Florida Challenge, if you're new, the format, it's pretty simple. It's based on a couple of series events that they've had the last 15, 20 years in college. At one time, it was the ACC versus the Big Ten. Now, of course, the Southeastern Conference and the Big East do it, where you have a member of each of those conferences play a member from the other conference, and at the end, They add up who scores the most. Of course, at the college, it's the first place teams playing each other, the second place teams, and so on and so on. Here it's the Metro Conference taking on a non-member of the Metro Conference in each of these games, a.k.a. the Florida Contingency. And the membership of the Florida, or the Metro Conference, is made up of all the public high schools in Orange County. Score of the deuce
Starter
again.
basket for Choa Bangerville.
And, of course, at the end of this game, we will also have the Earl Graham Most Valuable Player plaque announced, as well as given out. And just real quickly, we talked about that at the beginning of the game. Earl Graham, the longtime coach, a man who, anybody who has anything to do really with athletics, but specifically basketball in Central
Starter
Florida.
basket from Noah Pratt.
He misses Coach Graham very dearly. And, of course, Coach Graham, over 50 years as an assistant coach, never wanted to be a head coach. Thought his place was just working behind the scenes, working with the young men, basketball, and even occasionally providing some advice to the young ladies. Unfortunately, he passed away on January 7th, 2021 due to COVID. And his last stop was, or his last, I guess say, working relationship in terms of his boss was Coach Williams. Coach Williams hired him when Wekiva opened in 2007. And Coach Graham came with Coach Williams 7 years later up here to Apopka. And I've talked so much about him. He was also a firefighter. That's what he did for a living. And I'll just leave it at this and then turn it over to you. Even outside of basketball, you can see on a personal level, you don't go into firefighting unless you have a heart for service.
Yeah, absolutely, Neil. And we certainly miss him at every one of these events. We always joke that at the Metro versus Florida Challenge, Earl's job was to guard the hospitality room that had all the snacks for the staff, and we always told him that's like having the fox guard the hen house.
Of course, last night we were lucky enough to have Coach Brent Bond sit with us. He did color along with me. And Coach Bond did coach for a year with Coach Graham at Wekiva, and he told me this story just to show you the kind of person, just remember this. Coach Bond's father, about 12 years ago, maybe even 15 years ago, unfortunately passed away due to cancer. And
Putback made by Matthew Murray.
It was one of those situations that Thanksgiving rolled around, and the Bond family knew that it was the last Thanksgiving they were going to spend with Coach Bond's father, and Coach Graham came and spent that holiday with them. So just to give you another example there.
Fouls called against number 32, Noah Pratt. His second, team's fourth. At the line, shooting will be Jacques Evariste.
And this will probably close out this game. Metro Conference winning, Apopka representing them. They'll now take a 6-5 lead in the overall series. A game that Apopka, again, gained to the regional finals last year, the round of 8, 21-8 record. Certainly look like they're picking up where they left off. This season, they'll go to 2-1. It was Zeke Davis draining the tray from the right side, set up by a beautiful cross-court pass from the other side on the first possession. And as they say, they never look back. They dropped 4 of their first 6 trays. They were shooting around 70% throughout their first quarter. They'll finish in the mid-50s. And again, as I've said several times, you don't need to be a basketball guru to understand when you're shooting in your mid-50s, you're going to score a lot of points. So your final score, 64-29, and we will get ready now for Jones taking on Oviedo, a pair of cats, duking it out. Mark, take us to the finish line for the 11th game of the 2025 Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge.
In game number 11 of the 15th annual Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge, presented by Advent Health, Burn Fat Orlando, and St. Germain Chiropractic. Before you go, we've got some hardware to hand out, and then we'll get on to game 12. But before we do that, we ask you to direct your attention to the scorer's table at midcourt. for the announcement of the MVP of today's game in the Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge. Throughout his life and coaching career, Coach Graham inspired thousands of players to love the game and become better men. While he can never be truly replaced, we can honor his legacy by playing on in his name. It is in that spirit that our annual celebration of Central Florida basketball forever bears his name. Here to present today's award is Earl's son, Ron Graham, and the winner of the most valuable player for today's Game 11 in the Metro versus Florida Challenge, leading his team with 16 points, many of which came from behind the arc and putting Apopka up early and establishing a solid lead. It is number 3, Trent James. For those of you watching on the live stream, we are going to cut to our next live stream. Just remember that each game is its own separate live stream. And so if you are planning on watching Game 12, which we hope you will, you'll need to exit out of this live stream and join us on the next one. We'll meet you there in just about 9 minutes. We do hope you will subscribe before you go. We know everybody on YouTube is always shilling for likes and subscribes, and we are no different. The reason why is because the more subscribers you get, the more features YouTube unlocks for you as a creator. So we would appreciate it. It costs you nothing. Whether you're here in the arena and you don't need to turn on the live stream, or whether you're watching us online, we would appreciate it if you would give us that subscription before you go. Again, it costs you nothing. And as we start to approach higher numbers of subscriptions, we'll be able to turn on more features for this and future Metro versus Florida Challenge events. It's just difficult to build momentum on the channel when we only produce content once a year. So we appreciate your help with that, and we'll see you in about 8 minutes for game number 12. The Jones Tigers taking on the Oviedo Lions next, here from Joe Sterling Gymnasium.